Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and earlier, I think last week, I did a story on the latest going on in the Jimmy Savile investigations and some of the trials that include allegations. Now, I admitted I didn't know much about this allegation that was being made by a guy named Carl Beach, but what I want to do here is play the response of one of the people accused in this Savile ring. His name is Lord Edwin Bramall, as well as catch up with some more news on this and kind of go over the entire story for those that are just unaware. I have this clip from 2012 when the story really started to break and people understood how horrific this was. Now, recently, one of his old homes was vandalized. You can see what people wrote here on the side. And, you can take a look at that monster if you want. And I pointed out in my last video that this guy was so famous that a politician who had taken a picture with him all the way back, I believe it was in 2010 or something like that. Yeah, he was visiting in 2010. Many an allegation had been out there. Many people already knew what was going on, 100%. And we're going to show you that in this upcoming news clip. This guy just took down the picture like a week ago. Think about that. This guy didn't think it was a big deal that he had somebody who was accused of over 450 victims. Those are just the claims. Now, not everybody there may be telling the truth, but we also know that people that are abused on this level, many of them don't come forward. They don't want people to know if they got through it. They have no desire to go through these memories again and again and again. And so I don't know about the Beach allegations. I'll tell you right now, I have not studied them. I have seen that many other allegations that have been brought up against Savile and now people like Edward Heath seem extremely credible. We know Gary Glitter and others in that Operation U-Tree were convicted. So check out what Bramall has to say here.
How do you want to respond to that?
Well, I'm absolutely astonished, amazed and astonished and bemused. Not only do I deny absolutely any of these things, but we will do that in more detail. But I find it quite incredible that anybody should believe that someone of my career, standing, integrity should be capable of any of these things, including things like torture, which are unbelievable.
Okay.
And he looks him dead in the eye there. Now, here's my thing. Okay? Here's my thing. Guys, we know people of prominence. You don't use that. Have been found to do this sort of thing. Let's just get Savile out of the way and, not talk about his knighthood, which he felt would save him, would basically protect him from anything. And by the way, post-mortem, they said they couldn't strip him of that knighthood. Look at somebody in politics in the United States who's so well respected, like Dennis Hastert. Gets to be the Speaker of the House. 3 people away from the President of the United States. Think about that. That's a man of prominence and stature. And we know there are plenty of allegations against people of prominence and stature. So to me, that just doesn't exonerate you. It 100% does not exonerate you. So listen, here we go. I'm going to play this clip. We're going to break it up as we go along. But this was from 2012, and I thought that this really did a good job of breaking things down. Thank you very much, Small Axe Media. We appreciate the super chats here. Shout out.
The evidence is now overwhelming that one of Britain's most beloved entertainers, the late Sir Jimmy Savile, was also a predatory sex offender. It's believed he abused young children over many decades, and 2 charities in his name have shut their doors. Many people in Britain are questioning how his behaviour went unchecked for so long, and the scandal is infecting his main employer, the BBC. Europe correspondent Mary Gearan reports.
Now then.
As Jimmy Savile became one of Britain's most popular entertainers, host of the smash hit program Top of the Pops, as he forged a reputation as a tireless fundraiser, as he was knighted by the Queen and the Pope, he was, it now seems, leading an appalling double life, sexually abusing scores of young girls and some boys, some in hospitals, some in care homes, some in the very studios that made him a star.
So let's stop this right here. Guys, this would be like if a year or two after Bob Hope died, all these things came out about him. And I'm not saying Bob Hope did anything. I know there are some allegations out there with Kathy O'Brien and others, so we'll leave that aside. But did you just hear what they said? I mean, this person was such a beloved entertainer and philanthropist. He put himself around children at every single corner. And believe me, people knew. A lot of people knew. If when we go through the rest of this clip, when you find out the hairdresser says that everybody knew, they knew when they knighted him. Prince Charles knew. The royal family knew. Thatcher knew. They knew. They knew. I don't want to hear this. Oh, he was leading a double life. Listen, the people of prominence absolutely knew and helped cover up for him, period.
I just didn't know what to do. Did not know what was happening. I was quite a naive 14-year-old. The worst thing that I will never get out of my head is the taste of his cigar breath.
I can't believe that I allowed such things to happen, that I didn't immediately rush and scream it from the rooftops. Make this stop. Just make it stop. But I didn't. None of us did.
Welcome. Another edition of Top of the Pops.
Jimmy Savile was an iconic figure in British public life and was loved by millions of people. To have found out that he was a paedophile, somebody who was molesting young girls, is absolutely shocking for the British people.
That his offending started in the 1950s, 1958.
See that? Jim will fix it for you. Jim fixed it. Thank you so much. What is it? Trashay Mail. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. But yeah, again, a complete Hollywood icon. Now let me just stop here because we're going to go back to this. But I've talked about how there were allegations against Elton John. Elton John is currently seeing not a resurgence, but some more light, some more shine due to that biography picture out there. Now, Elton John gets money for his charities from a guy named Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? And I've done that video. It's on the channel. If you haven't joined the Burmese Brigade, if you're a new watcher, please, now is the time to subscribe here. But I'm putting out all sorts of videos. And if you want to see the Jeffrey Epstein, it's a while back, but the Jeffrey Epstein, Elton John, his secret charity revealed, and you find out some other charities that Mr. Epstein is involved in. So if you think it's stopped, that some of these pop stars that are still beloved by millions of people across the world are not doing this, that we've cleaned this up, you'd be very, very mistaken. Let's continue with that clip.
And went on to 2006. So we're talking about 4, 5, 6 decades of abuse. This is a man who was, I think, for all intents and purposes, in modern day life, an untouchable.
Jimmy Savile died last year, aged 84, his reputation officially intact. But police have now identified more than 200 potential victims, and they're pursuing 400 lines of inquiry.
One woman...
Let me just stop there before she starts talking about that. 400 lines of inquiry. Remember, over 450 abuse victims came out. Can you imagine? Imagine all the people that kept their mouths shut.
who knew.
Liz Dux is representing some of those people.
They range in severity to people who, allege that an indecent assault happened when they were seeking an autograph, and he assaulted them by putting his hand up someone's skirt, to very, very much more serious complaints of sort of organised paedophile rings, to other very vulnerable people where he would abuse them at, bath times, or he was given a room in a hospital and abuse took place there.
Here we go.
There were years of rumours and even some fruitless police investigations. But Savile's conduct only came to light after an expose for ITV by Mark Williams-Thomas, a former police detective turned investigative reporter. He says Savile was as manipulative as any sex offender, but his celebrity made it easier.
And by the way, we talked about how Louis Theroux had done a documentary on Savile and found him quite charming, even knowing a bunch of these allegations out there. And now he's doing a follow-up as all these monstrous claims were worse and more nightmarish than you could ever imagine. Look, we're going to continue to play this clip, but one of the things it doesn't talk about is the allegations of necrophilia. I had somebody in the chat, I got ripped apart for butchering his name last time. I'm going to try to get it right every time, Savile. But, that's a real thing. Corpses, people in hospice, okay?
It was far easier for him to simply gain access to children through his television work, through his media work, through his charities, particularly his hospitals, where there was children in abundance.
It appears Savile got away with abuse hiding in the open, disguised, it seems, by his sexually suggestive humour and his eccentricity.
Give us a kiss, then.
He rebuffed questions about his life with threats to sue and to withdraw charitable works.
It's clear from what's emerged over the past few weeks that many hundreds of people, including hospital staff and charity workers, at least suspected that Jimmy Savile was abusing children. That sparked inquiries into exactly who knew what when at many institutions. But it's his main employer, the BBC, that's feeling the most heat.
The BBC is a trusted and I would say worldwide brand.
Let's stop there. Now, this is 2012. I would say a worldwide brand. Would I call it trusted? No. Many people are over the lies and propaganda of mainstream media, and the BBC went right along with the war on terror and weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and what's going on in Syria, etc., etc., etc. Now, it's more than just news there, as you can see. So in that respect to the masses, okay, I get it. But I just had to challenge that respected.
Particularly people in this country trust whatever the BBC tells them. Now, with what's happened with Sir Jimmy Savile, it means that trust is being completely undermined.
Here we are back home again with today's edition of Savile's Travels.
Savile allegedly carried out some of his abuse on BBC premises.
Of course he did.
I should be giving girls away.
One person has claimed to be a witness to convicted paedophile Gary Glitter using Savile's dressing room to rape a young girl.
By the way, Gary Glitter, that's the ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Hey, you still hear that when you go to a high school basketball game? They still play those jock jams? Huh? Once again, if you think we've cleaned up Hollywood and entertainment and all the monsters that are still continuing to do this stuff, I'll give you one name. Bryan Singer. Just pay a little money, no big deal. An open secret, just documented the hell out of the abuse him and his buddies caused to, young boys.
BBC's Director General, just 38 days into his tenure, appeared before a select committee of MPs and faced a barrage of questions about the culture that allowed Savile to thrive.
The BBC's reputation for trust and integrity is one of its most precious assets, and yet do you not accept that that is in jeopardy as a result of some of the suggestions that have been made in the last few weeks?
There is no question that what Jimmy Savile did and the way the BBC behaved in the years, that the culture and practices of the BBC seemed to allow Jimmy Savile to do what he did, will raise questions of trust for us and reputation for us. There is no
there's no question. There's no question of trust and questions. You guys helped cover this up. I understand that you feel you only had so much power because you're just a television network and this guy was embedded with Thatcher and the royal family, but fuck you anyway. How dare you? Think about the countless amount of victims that he and his cohorts took advantage of.
This is a gravely serious matter. and one cannot look back at it with anything other than horror, frankly.
I was on BBC News the other day, and the makeup person who'd worked at the BBC for years said we all knew about it, which was fairly shocking.
Was it shocking? We all knew about it. Everybody, we all knew about it. But, you know, it takes time after his death for any of these allegations to come to fruition and an actual investigation into these people to happen and arrests to be made. And people like Saville and Heath just get to die in their old age, in their 80s. That's great. Awesome.
I think there are certainly lessons to be learned, that people are not afraid to speak out if this type of abuse occurs in the future.
But it's not just the BBC's past that's under scrutiny. It's been revealed last year one of its current affairs programs, Newsnight, shelved a similar story about Saville just a few weeks before the BBC aired tributes to his life.
So you see how it works. You know, I think that's going to be enough on that clip right there, guys. But as you can see, well after they knew, well after they'd even produced material on this, they still covered it up. They still didn't put it out there. They still tried to hide it from the public. Why? Because it's a big ring. And like I said, he's the Bob Hope of Europe at the time. And all these allegations were more than allegations. Folks, we're doing all sorts of videos here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a day. Spent the day with TrueStream Media if you haven't seen that walk and talk from last night. So this is only video 2. We're going to try to crank out at least one more today. But I'm all on my own. I got to GoFundMe. It's no frills. I'm not promising you any Patreon stuff. I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing 30 to 50 videos a week. We hit the $5,000 goal. That's great. We're going to try to do it month to month. That's $60K a year. I take home 40 of that. If we can start doing more than $5,000 a month, I will go on location to some event, depending on what we think is the most important thing in the political spectrum. Because, hey, it's not about left and right, guys. It is about right and wrong. If you're new to this channel and you liked what you saw, look at all these videos you haven't seen that I've been putting up in the last just couple days. All right? We're doing it big here. Please subscribe. Join the Burmist Brigade. When we hit 30K, we can do so much more. I want to thank all of you guys who have already subbed. Share this. Remember, ring the bell for notifications to get on the live stream, but just hit the blue button right up here. Favorites. And there'll be more videos. We're doing more videos. We're doing videos every day that matter, all because of you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the flip side.